Welcome back to this wonderful summer club. Today we, like I said last week, are going to do a mermaid in a bottle. And please remember that any step that we take, if it is too advanced for you, just do the best that you can. If you just want to stick with the bottle, if you want to work your way towards other if you want to do like half of a mermaid or whatever you choose, that's totally fine. But I decided with this project, we're going to go ahead and split it into two different videos. So this first video, I will show you how to draw it. And then the next video, so next week, we'll go into the painting. That way, if anyone has, or anyone who doesn't have like painting stuff, you can at least draw with us, and then you don't feel pressured to continue on to the next video. But yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. And if you haven't noticed, I am using a 9x12 it's mixed media sketchbook. Some of you may know of this sketchbook, okay? Some of you might have it. The reason why I choose mixed media is because you can literally use whatever media you want with this. So it could be pencil, charcoal, color pencil, and then watercolor and acrylic. So you can use this particular sketchbook for almost any idea that you have with whatever material you have. So we're using a 9x12. My bottle will be probably in this vicinity, okay? I use a larger piece of paper so that you get an idea of like space-wise and what we're actually working with. But okay, let's get real. Let's start this, right? Okay, so I'm going to start with the base shape of the bottle, okay? And I like to break everything down into shapes like we've talked about. So I'm just going to start with one line going that direction. Okay? And notice I'm drawing very lightly. And I'm going to grab another line and put it right here. Okay, I kind of want them to be decently on the same slant, but I mean, this is not perfect, so we don't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I just want to make sure. So we'll drag the bottom down just a little bit more. And then if you have ever looked at a bottle straight forward, okay, you will notice that instead of it being flat, okay, at the bottom, we actually have a rounded edge. So make sure you put in a round line at the bottom. So right now we kind of have almost a cup-like shape, which is what you want, okay? Then from about here, we're going to then give it a circular top. Okay, and I am honestly eyeballing it, starting with one side, making sure that I like the line, and then I'm going to try my best to copy it on the other side. But please remember, you can do this and readjust it as many times as you think that you will need to. But, at the same note, don't go heavy with your lines. So you see how up here it's very light. Don't go heavy with your lines until you're comfortable and happy with the shape that you've created. Now right now you're probably thinking, how the heck are we going to turn this into a bottle? And I promise you that we will. I want to go ahead and kind of clean up some of those lines so I can get the full picture visually of what I want. Okay, so this is the shape you want to start with, okay? And please remember, this is just how I do it. There are always different techniques out there. So if you have a different technique, you want to try a different way, you are welcome to do it. This is just the way that I was taught, and so it's the way that I prefer to teach, okay? So we have our basic shape, okay? Now we're going to start getting the neck of the bottle, okay? So I am actually going to start right here And I'm just going to very lightly get in there with like a top hat. Okay? And then I'm going to erase that line. And I'm going to accentuate some of these spaces. Please excuse my dogs if you can hear them. They hate it when I close the door, so this is what we're working with. Okay? From there, we're going to go ahead in with some straight lines. Okay? And then we're going to add kind of another circular shape up here. Let me see if I can scoot this down a little bit more. So we're going to start with drawing this rounded line right here. Okay, and you know what? We're actually even going to pull this line down as well, and just ever so slightly create some lines there. Erase and erase, because we don't want this line and this line to compete. We're actually going to create an additional there. Okay, then from here, 2 more straight lines, and I want this to be a slightly more dramatic, so instead of going straight up and down, I'm actually angling them. And we're going to go ahead and come across here. Okay, you see that shape? Right there. And we're going to bring it around, so it feels more equal, because we want this to be a soft transition, right? Then from here, I'm actually going to bring this line up just a hair more. Erase the line below it. And then we're going to put in the cork. Okay, so the cork is going to connect to this line here. Okay, if you can see that. We're going to make it slightly taller. And then we're going to just give it that rounded top. And then a nice design line in the center to give it more 3D feel. Erase this line right here. And you officially have your bottle. Okay? Now, from here, we're going to draw some design elements. Okay? First off, we need to make sure that we can still sort of see the cork, because this is going to be a glass bottle. So I'm going to start putting in some, I kind of like to call them imaginary lines, because if you're looking at a bottle and you're looking at a cork in a bottle, you can still sort of see it. So we're going to kind of create an illusion there. So now we can kind of see the cork more so in the bottle. Okay. And then we want to come in with some of our light reflections up top, just to give it more feel of a bottle. Now, light reflections will come in all different kinds of shapes. I'm putting in a general idea of what I would assume this bottle's shape to look like. I'll put a big one right here. And kind of get a feel for it there. I'm going to do another design element. Okay, and if you can see in the picture, this is the drawing that we're focusing on. Okay, we're going to start with that rope right here. Okay, so we want the rope to come down. So we're going to draw just a quick line here. Okay, then we're going to come outside of the bottle, because the rope is 3D, so it's going to be wrapped around the bottle. And just follow the line that you've previously made. You will most likely be doing a decent amount of erasing, which is totally normal. And we're drawing. Getting designs right, working towards the right shapes. Okay. I've left this space open because I think I'm going to go in with a knot. Like that. So we have a little knot, and if you look closely, I'll zoom in here for you. It's kind of like a little heart, right? So we have that. Then we come out with some dramatic bow ties for like shoelaces, right? Dramatic shapes. It's a string, but it's also been in water and soaked and all that fun stuff. Rabbit ears, if you will. Okay. And then we'll just have one little string who comes like that. And you can add another one if you feel you need it. It's totally up to you. So, basically, from this point on, we have your bottle. Okay? Now, you can choose to stop here and just wait until next week when we actually paint it, or you could paint it on your own, whatever you choose, or you can stick with us and keep working towards getting the mermaid in. Either way, it's totally up to you, but we're going to go ahead and continue on. Okay, so we have our rope in. Get some more quick designs just to give it cohesive lines. There you go. Okay. Now, real quick, I'm going to sharpen my pencil. Okay. Now comes drawing the mermaid, right? This is what we're all waiting for. Now, we're going to try to do this as basically as we possibly can. So super basic. We're going to draw just a super quick figure study of the mermaid and how she's shaped in the bottle first. And then we will go into all of the extra stuff. So, first things first is we're going to have a head here. So go ahead and draw a circle no bigger than a quarter right here. Okay? Then we're going to start with the arm or shoulder, if you will. And we can reposition, remove this as many times as we want, because remember, right now we're just focusing on basic shapes. Your mermaid doesn't have to look perfect. In fact, I prefer that it is more stylistically yours. So don't compare your drawing to mine, just draw your own mermaid. Draw your own shapes similar to what I am teaching, and that's all I ask, okay? So, yes, the arm and everything probably is not quite proportional, and that's fine. Remember, she is in a bottle, so there will be some discretionary facts happening there. Okay, I'm going to push this up and see if we can get closer in on our mermaid here. Okay. Okay, that's a little better. Let's try focusing. There we go. Okay, so we have the hand in. Remember, when you're drawing hands, they don't have to be perfect. I started with this line, and then I just kind of came in and added fingers as I went. Okay, do them however you want. Okay, this is a mermaid. Mermaids, and depending on what style of mermaid, they're all different. So yours doesn't have to look like mine. Yours can look however it wants. Okay, mine doesn't even have to look like a mermaid. I can just draw it however I want. Okay, from here, we are going to kind of create just a little bit of a shape profile. Okay. Let's push it away from her arm a little bit more. I think I'm actually going to put the head. See, I adjust. I like the arm, so I'm going to move the head. But because I haven't done too much detail in the head, I have the option to do this. Okay, so I put a chin line in and a neckline. Okay, that's all I need. That's all the information I think I'm going to need right now. And I am going to start with just a quick shape. So triangle, okay, for the torso. Then we're going to scoop downward. Okay, because eventually the mermaid's tail is going to come up and over. Okay, because she's kind of squished. So and see how many different lines I'm drawing? I'm not going to find the perfect line right off the bat. Sometimes you might. But in my experience, it takes me a few tries. And I am okay with that. And then right back here. Indication of her back. Okay. So right now it looks pretty spooky. But that's kind of what I wanted, so I think it's working pretty nicely for me. I'm actually going to pull this line further down. I'm going to go ahead and have it kink right here, so I want more of a sharp line. Because like we said, we want her to look kind of squished. So we're going to add a little bit of a kink in her tail here. Okay. And I need to kind of copy that up top. Not as intensely. There we go. Okay, so it kind of matches a little bit. And it doesn't have to be this heavy. I mean, you can round that out if you're like, that doesn't look right, or I don't really like the way that's going. And that's totally fine. You do you. You figure out what works best for you, what style you like the most, and you go for it. Okay. I think I'm going to have enough room now for her tail, but I am going to pull this piece up just a little bit more. I kind of want more kinks in her tail, so we're just going to do kind of like a hook right up top. Okay, now from this step, a lot of her face and her shoulders and her side are actually going to be covered with hair, so we can kind of play a very easy way of kind of hiding some of those spots we don't love. Which is why I chose this drawing, because I feel like if you look at the picture, so if you look at the image and you see how much of her hair is covering a lot of like the hard stuff to draw, that's what we're going to kind of try to do as well. Okay, so I'm going to start with drawing a sharp straight line above her head. And I'm going to slowly integrate some of those curls. But she's underwater, so please make sure, stylistically, that it looks flowy and natural. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to just focus on the basic shape of the hair, because we really will get into the detail of the hair when we start to paint it. But I just want to make sure I have visualities of where her hair is going before I paint. So I create what I always love to refer to as our road map. Okay, so I've come forward around her head and created those lines for the hair, because we're going to have hair even come down here. Then we got to focus on the front of the face. So I'm going to have this kind of come up and create one curl in the front of her face. And I'm going to have some of it come forward and down. Okay. Now, like I said, you can't quite see the face yet, period. And that's because we haven't drawn it in. But we'll get there. And we're going to do that right now. So, we drew this chin and neckline. Okay. So, I'm going to grab this chin. And I'm going to come up. Okay. Kind of erase that sharp line. Then I'm going to have the line come down. Okay. The lip is going to hang, her top lip is going to hang over the bottom lip. And then we're going to loop in and come up for her nose. And come inward. Okay. We're going to add some more of that hair. And then we're going to add a couple more strands because, like I said, I don't want to see her face. I just want the indication that she's there. And then we're going to go ahead and give her just a little bit more information on her nose. And there we have it. So we have the mermaid's face. And then we're going to just go ahead and, like we talked about, we are going to keep a little bit of the information. But again, like I said, I'm always readjusting so that I feel like it fits the image. Okay. And we're actually going to go ahead and erase this line right here because everything else from this point on is just her hair. Okay, so we're going to stop here and we're going to add the water line. And I know we're kind of stop, go, but I promise you there's a method to my madness. So the water line is going to be right on her shoulder. And we're going to actually readjust the shoulder in a second. But so we have this water line that hangs on her shoulder. And we're going to just draw the line very lightly coming out. And this is where a lot of that information will happen when we get into the paint process. But, so we're going to hit the tail. Okay. And then below the tail, we're going to have just a quick line. We're going to erase just a hair. But we want a quick line showing that her tail is coming out of the water. But there's still water behind, so we want to make sure that that gets shown. So we have her in the water. And now this is where we get just way more creation happening. So it's going to be mostly this point. It will be all on you. If you want to follow along with me, you can. But I'm basically blocking in some of the shapes that I see for her hair. And I want a lot of this hair to cover up a lot of the information that I just don't feel very confident in with the visuals that I'm getting. So we're just going to add hair. And remember, it's in the water, so it's going to be flowing more freely. And I am going to go in and obviously paint a lot of this stuff as well. I personally like to freehand a lot more of this stuff than I think most people do, but we all have our preferences. That's totally fine. Okay, so I think for the most part we have all the information that we need on her hair. Yes, I am keeping the line in play because I want to make sure I see that later. Okay, so you have hair coming up because she's smushed against the bottle. Don't want to lose any of my lines here. I'm going to go ahead and create another light reflection over here. Just real quick with my pencil. Erase the information that it's in. Okay. And then once we start painting, this will make more sense. But now let's focus on the tail. Oops. Okay. So let's see. So we're going to have the tail come to a point right here. And then we'll start adding on the fins. And again, I am going to just quickly focus on the nice shapes that I see. Outlining the contours of that tail. Making sure that every piece looks correct. That's the thing about fins with mermaids, and I'm sure that all of you have experienced this, but every single fish in the sea, they all have different fins. So it just makes sense that many of our mermaids would be the same way, right? At least I think it makes sense. And it looks like in the image her tail's a little battered. I mean, I can imagine she got herself stuck in a bottle. I don't know. I don't know her life story. I can't say anything. So the lines that I'm drawing, I am creating cohesive space between the outer lines and how the tail is flowing. And hopefully that is helping you see differences. But if it's not, let me know. I can explain further in comments if it is necessary. Okay, so from this point, just kind of coming back in and fixing some of these lines that I think need some touching up. Okay, so from this point, actually I think we'll call it good, since this video is like crazy long. Sorry about that, guys. This is why I wanted to do this in 2 videos, because I just don't think there is enough time in one video, and I am not uploading an hour-long video because I think you guys would kill me. But so this is the first step, okay? And then next week we'll get into the painting process, and hopefully you will have your first finished piece, which would be so much fun. I mean, I've enjoyed doing the smaller cartoon things, but I do find it really fun when we get to do something this complex. So I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration. I hope you followed along and had some fun with it. And next week, we will hopefully finish it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.